Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jaco Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to me, I appreciate it. We had a huge weekend in pro wrestling. Not only did we have WWE Elimination Chamber, Okada's last match, TNA No Surrender, we had AEW Collision, and AEW Collision is the only thing I'm going to be talking about right now because I watched NXT from last week. I watched all the AEW programming from last week, and I wanted to put that out here on Monday morning or Monday afternoon rather, so you guys could listen to that before you watch NXT from this week. You watch Dynamite from this week, and I'm going to attach Okada's last match and TNA's No Surrender reviews and opinions and thoughts to the show that I'm going to do tomorrow, also covering Raw. But I just wanted to get the reviews from NXT and then AEW from last week out there so you guys have something to listen to on Monday and Tuesday. You can also check out my WWE Elimination Chamber review that came out Saturday morning, putting out a lot of stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I love enjoying wrestling. I guess that's a true statement. I love wrestling and I enjoy watching it. NXT from last Tuesday, Mello says he had to get Trick before Trick got him. That little sentence there, I guess, cleared up a lot, helped some explanation of what was going on. Why did he attack him? I feel like the sit down with the chair really didn't do a lot for me, but then this promo here in the barbershop where it all began brought it back and explained, kind of his intention. Like he felt more or less threatened, so instead of just feeling that way, you just act on it and attack him, because you know that it was kind of come down to you guys having a match for the number one contender shot anyways. So you attack Trick Williams, and then there it is. Paranoia crept up in the mind of Carmelo Hayes, and I think there's no turning back. Braun signs with SmackDown, but still comes out to celebrate his tag team title win on NXT. They named the finisher the Spear of Days. People love it. They get interrupted by Chase U. They want a title shot. Frazier and Axiom come out. They want a title shot. So what happens here? We get a number one contenders match. Huge senton, Hudson hits a senton gutbuster combo. This was a wild move. I don't know what's going on in WWE, but there seems to be these codebreaker gutbuster combination standing senton moves. We saw Kevin Owens do it in Elimination Chamber, and here we see Duke Hudson do it at NXT, setting up for Andre Chase to get the 1-2-3. But then they get attacked by the Good Brothers. I'm glad they're doing something with these Good Brothers, bringing them to NXT. I think they could have good matches with the War Dogs, and I think that we have a good tag division here in NXT. You got Chase U, you got Axiom and Frazier, and then you got the Good Brothers and the War Dog or the Wolf Dogs. Those are four teams that any combination of those four can have great matches. Axiom and Frazier definitely stand out a little bit to me with their size and their ability, but they can bump and make these bigger guys look good, like Hudson and the Wolf Dogs and definitely the Good Brothers. And they can also bring an element of speed and agility to these matches as well. Speaking of big guys, Obi Femi versus Lexis King, North American title on the line. Lexis gets frustrated, pushes down Stone, who's at ringside, gets back in the ring, lariat, pop-up powerbomb, 1-2-3. Femi retains, and I'm all for pushing this guy. I mean, he's a big guy, but he can go. He's not just like these standalone guys who can't fall down or do, a jumping jack or some shit that they kind of pushed a lot. I mean, maybe during the Vince McMahon era, but it seems like this guy can go, and he's showing us this. We had a lot of women's wrestling. If you like women's wrestling and, you're seeking out stardom, but you want to seek out something a little different, I would tune into NXT, because NXT has more women's wrestling and they put more attention on women's storytelling than I think any other weekly wrestling show in North America. Roxanne got a win beating Ren Sinclair. JC Jane versus Ariana Grace. Jane gets the victory, but it seems like there's trouble at Chase U because Thea Hale trying to raise the hand of Jane, but gets cut off because Jasmine Nix and her were just celebrating so much. So I don't know. There's a little bit of jealousy there. I don't know where they're going with that. Kalana Jordan versus Lash Legend. Lash has some star power here between, I would say, Rhea, Jade, Camille. There's like these powerhouse ladies are getting a lot of attention and having like a moment now in today's wrestling world. And I think that Legend could be one of those people in that conversation. We get a little bit more Legend other than in this match where Shotzi versus Lyra Valkyria match happens with the world title on the line. Shotzi gets hurt, so we needed guidance. We needed to know what was going to happen here. And then The Rock's daughter comes out. Of course, The Rock's daughter comes out. Is she as good as William Regal in this role? No. But are we trying to keep The Rock happy as a wrestling world so we can see more of The Rock? Yes. So what do we have? We have The Rock's daughter being the GM or match booker in NXT. I'll take it. Whatever. There's a balance to life. You can't just have The Rock. You also have to have The Rock's daughter. You can't have just the good. You got to take in the bad along with it. Lash answers the call. She comes out, opens the challenge. Valkyria still beats her 1-2-3. Also in NXT, we had Briggs beating Jensen. This was, you can tell this match meant a lot to the guys in it. I'll say that. But moving on, AEW Dynamite. I'm going to go down AEW Dynamite, then Rampage, and then Collision. AEW Dynamite, Garcia gets a TNT title shot, and this guy is great on the mic. You deserve a chance. And then he brought the crowd down and into what he was saying. He says, sometimes I don't think I deserve it. So thank you, which I've never really heard a good response to the "you deserve a chance." I've heard, the I never lost it, baby. That was like 6 or 7 years ago from Chris Jericho, and I thought that was a good response. But ever since then, you never really got other than the "I never lost it," the "you deserve it" chant or "you still got it" chant. This was a good rebuttal kind of to that. Christian comes out, and then we learned a lot about Garcia based on Christian being a shithead, bringing up his dead father again with the dead father promos. Goddamn. Christian versus Garcia for the TNT title at Revolution. Let's go. Darby standing by a cool door with red lighting, sharing a photo of Sting and his sons, and then Sting grabs the photo, and Sting reveals that his own father has passed. Stay away from Christian Cage there, Sting. A week ago, you have a fight on your hands, Bucks, Sting says. And it's going to be the fight of your life. Let's fucking go. Revolution is Sunday. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm going to attend it live. First ever AEW pay-per-view live. I've been to the Dynamites, the Rampage. I've been to 2 Collisions. And now this will be my first pay-per-view for AEW. 2 years ago, people were chanting his name, but city after city, but now they're really not. And it's Wardlow. He comes out, he kicks Tony Schiavone out of the ring, and he says exactly that. He brings up that he fought CM Punk, brings up that he fought MJF, which is, people are talking about, well, why are you bringing up CM Punk? Well, you got to bring up stuff from 2 years ago if you're talking about Wardlow. He was the man. He was the guy they were going to push. The story was there. He was the bodyguard for the rich, snobby asshole. And then all of a sudden, he turned his back on the rich, snobby asshole, and the rich, snobby asshole got his comeuppance. But there was 2 big events that happened where MJF wanted more money. And it was the week of this pay-per-view where Wardlow was supposed to beat him, that he held out for money. And that took up a lot of the press going into this show. And then 2 weeks later, I guess MJF got the money. He cut a great promo, and we all forgot about Wardlow. And Wardlow kind of got covered up in all of this nonsense, it seems like. Now he's in, the, what's it called? Not the United Kingdom, but the Undisputed Kingdom, which is good, but he's going to have to rise even out of that as well. And looking it looks like they don't know what they're doing with that group. You had the Devil. Who is the Devil? Oh, it's Adam Cole and his friends. And then Wardlow has joined them because he doesn't like MJF. But MJF is gone. And who did they attack? They attacked the Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold. So the Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed form up, but they don't go after the Undisputed Kingdom. Undisputed Kingdom doesn't even go after them again. They go after Orange Cassidy. So this whole thing is going to revolve around a mid-card feud for a mid-card title when this was supposed to be your biggest thing in 2023, this big reveal of who is the Devil. I don't know, I digress a bit. But going into the matches, Blackpool Combat Club versus FTR, Power and Glory, but Mox gets his knees up on the crossbody part of the Glory. Claudio hits a big swing. 2 minutes remain. Two sharpshooters at the same damn time. Claudio and Dax bitch slapping each other, trying to get the other one to relinquish the hold. This is a great time limit expired. The match is a draw. Didn't this just happen with Swerve and Hangman? I don't know. I don't care because we're going to get Blackpool Combat Club and FTR Revolution. Cassidy versus Mike Bennett. Of course, Undisputed Kingdom trying to soften up Cassidy for Roderick Strong at Revolution. Bennett puts on the headset. The Rock is back, and so is his gimmicks in AEW. Doing the whole commentary during the match. Cassidy ends up getting the victory, but gets attacked by Taven and Strong. Then the music hits. No one knows who the music is, but it's Oklahoma's own Jake Hager, who is the most random save of 2024. Looks like the big brother of Orange Cassidy standing there with his shades on. Tony Storm versus Sydney Whittle. Speaking of Oklahoma's own, she has been at it since 2019 and also goes by the name Storm Renee. I guess she didn't want to have the same name as the champion here going against the champion. Tony wins handedly, ankle lock, and lets it go, and then locks in the Venue de Milo, which is Purrazzo's move. Deonna Purrazzo comes out right after the champion wins, taking her moment just like Tony did to her. She takes on Madison Rayne, Impact Wrestling legend. Madison Rayne gets thrown right on her head. This looks rough. And then they use this for like a replay. I don't know what the hell they were doing with this. And then Purrazzo wins with Tony's ankle lock. Madison taps out. Tony comes back out, swings a shoe, but ends up eating a boot. Maria May distracts Deonna Purrazzo so Tony can get the upper hand. Luther has to come in and pull Tony off. And then as Tony's walking away, she puts on lipstick like you would if you were insane, going everywhere but her lips. Ridiculous here, but I laughed. I don't know how to even review it, how to even speak about how silly this was, but the champ looked impressive in the ring and then looked silly as fuck out of the ring, and that's why we love her. Going into the main event, Joe, Swerve, and Brian Cage versus RVD, Hook, and Hangman. Big Tower of Doom spot with Hook being the man to lift them all up. That kind of threw me off. It threw me off of my notes here as well. Then he locks in a chokehold to Brian Cage, locks in a chokehold to Swerve, buckshot to Cage, Hangman powerbomb Swerve through the announcer's desk. RVD goes for a 5-star. Cage pushes him down. Cage then takes Hook out, locks in a choke on RVD, and RVD goes night-night. Joe, Swerve, and Cage get the victory. Jumping over to Rampage, Sammy comes out and talks to Don Callis' family. Callis comes out, Hobbs tries to attack, but Sammy takes flight and takes his ass out before Hobbs delivers a devastating pile driver. We'll talk more about them a little later on at Collision. We had some matches to talk about. Commander Penta and Brian Keith versus Private Party Matt Sydal versus Top Flight and Action Andretti. Talk about a clusterfuck here. I guess it would be, a triangle trios match. Commander locks in a surfboard on the apron to Sydal. Dante Martin dives over that, hits a senton to everybody else. Meteora on the apron. Fear Factor on the apron. Just move after move, looking wild as hell. Gin and Juice countered by Pentagon, hitting a destroyer to the man that was he was getting thrown at. Commander launches or gets launched in the air. This match is just wild as hell. Fear factor in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Penta wins for his team. Brian Keith, Commander, all celebrate in the ring. And then we have my highlight of Rampage, the Young Bucks, the EVPs, versus Johnny Lyons and Cappuccino Jones. Johnny Lyons looked familiar, and I looked up. He was at WrestleK 2017. I can't believe I remembered him. He also was on 205 Live in 2019, so he's been around a while, like 7 years now. Cappuccino Jones, though, hilarious name, also known as Cold Brew Jones on Twitter. I love this gimmick. I love coffee. And the Young Bucks, kind of dressing like Big Bubba Rogers here in the WCW gimmick. They look a little different nowadays. I'm enjoying their pompous gimmick. It's kind of like they would get heat in the indies acting like wrestlers from the 80s who were still over. And everyone hates going to an indie show where it's kind of like that. They hate, the Brutus Beefcakes of the world beating some guy and acting like it's still in the 80s doing their moveset. And that kind of was their ironic way of getting incredibly over in the indies. Now when they're in AEW, they never really grasp what got them heat and what got them over in the first place. But it was doing things that people didn't like. And people don't necessarily like that they're the EVPs and that they kind of maybe chase CM Punk out. So they gravitated to that. And I think their matches are great now. I think their storyline is great. Attacking Sting and Darby with, the white suits getting covered in blood. That was perfect. That was great. I'm into that match a lot more now. The Sting and Darby with the Young Bucks match. I am now seeing these promos from the Young Bucks, seeing how they're acting. So, good job. I think 2023 was probably the worst year for the Young Bucks. 2024 is looking like it might be a good year for the Young Bucks. I'm not going to say best, but a good year. Tony Khan Driver is now the Dave Meltzer Driver has changed its name to the Tony Khan Driver. 1, 2, 3. And they threaten to fine Paul Turner. They make Shivani get in the ring. They give him a $25 Amazon gift card. I'm glad this is being brought up in our culture. A gift card, is a nice gesture, I guess, if you barely know the person. But sometimes you get these gifts that are supposed to be big deals to from family members or friends, and it's just like a $25 Amazon gift card. It's like, we know that you forgot about me all the way up until you were at the register, and then you grab that instead of grabbing like some M&Ms for me. The $25 Amazon gift card is slowly becoming a slap in the face, and I love the Young Bucks bringing it up. We also had Anna Jay versus Mariah May. She can't hit a hip attack like Tony, but she does hit the Mayday in the center of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Mariah May gets the victory here. Roderick Strong versus Jake Hager. Of course, the random save sets up for the hometown hero to have a match on Rampage. And I was pretty excited about this. Both guys working snug as always. Then the Tulsa, Oklahoma's baseball team mascot comes out. Orange Cassidy comes out. This goes to hell quickly. Hager gets his hat on. A bunch of shit, just all hell breaks loose. Huge knee. 1, 2, 3. Roderick Strong gets the victory. Moving over to Collision, not a lot of backstage stuff, but a lot of in-ring action, including the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. This is something I got to talk about versus the Iron Savages. Of course, there was the Famouser where the guy lands, pops up, and flips over the ring like Dolph Ziggler. He is not, so he could not do this ragdoll selling as a big man to where people didn't call him out. It looked ridiculous. Did the Bang Bang Scissor Gang forget about the Devil attacking them? I don't know. But did Caster forget his freestyle rap on the way to the ring? Yes, he wasn't even in the match. All he had to do was freestyle. He couldn't even have a chance to have a good match to have us forget about him forgetting the freestyle, which is rough. Switchblade gets the win for his team, and then seeing Switchblade, I know I'm shitting all over this, but seeing Switchblade in a group like this makes me worried about Okada. If Okada is coming to AEW, which it looks like he is pretty much, Switchblade, was in the main event. He was in the main events with Okada. He held the world title. And now he is in this group where they don't even have any direction. They've got 2 6-man titles at the same time. Like, what the hell's going on with this? I like AEW, but if they take Okada from New Japan and they treat him this way, there's going to be some problems. Moving on, Sammy Guevara versus Hobbs. Of course, this match was set up on Rampage. Sammy has crazy matches, random matches with Jeff Hardy in a ladder match, and now this is like some random TLC match, or not so random. I mean, they had a little bit of a build, but this could have been on a pay-per-view or something. Sammy getting caught in midair, table being set up on the inside, on the outside. Sammy gets a beer bottle, not once but twice, and breaks it over Hobbs' head, setting him on a table, gets a ladder in the ring, and then hits a huge senton. Sammy's just wild and crazy. As much as Darby Allin gets credit for being wild, Sammy Guevara is just as wild, and he's been doing this shit on cable television since 2019. Back in the ring, Hobbs pushes the ref onto Guevara, which sets him up to slam him with the world's strongest slam through a table and get the victory. FTR versus Shane Taylor Promotions. Underrated Shane Taylor Promotions, I would say. Shane, not the legal man, but helping take out Cash. Cash, able to tag in Dax. Gets the powerbomb Doomsday like the Steiners used to do. 1, 2, 3. This match was solid. And then they call out Blackpool Combat Club. And I'm just ready for Revolution. Malachi Black versus Brian Keith. Malachi Black, rare singles match. Brian Keith, the newcomer to this promotion. This is probably one of the biggest matches of his career. Double stomp off the top. Huge knee. Bridging German. 1, 2. No. Keith kicks out. Keith hulking up before he gets his head kicked off. 1, 2, 3. The house always wins. Lights go out. But it's Mark Briscoe that appears with a kendo stick, taking out Murphy, and then has a spike. Malachi moves out the way. The spike sticks into the top turnbuckle. He turns around. Brody King takes him out. And, Mark Briscoe needs to align himself with some people because it's always going to be a numbers game here. Who, though? I mean, I think it should be the Hardys. Or, there's a plethora of people in the back. We also had Lady Frost versus Serena Deeb. 2 ladies that if I were starting a women's division, if I had the pin, if I was booking, I would have these ladies booked pretty strongly. They would, probably be like up in the title picture. But here they are in a random match on Collision. Serena Deeb working the leg all match and then taps Lady Frost out with a single leg crab, grabs the mic, and issues pretty much a challenge to anyone in the wrestling world. Gotta love Serena Deeb coming back. Gotta love Thunder Rosa back. I mean, those 2 ladies, were over at 2 different periods of time in AEW. You're not doing anything really with them. Why not have them both wrestle each other? I don't know. Why not? But then we had the main event here. Bryan Danielson versus Jun Akiyama, the man who put the Exploder Suplex on the map. When I first was watching Ring of Honor in 2004, every tape I had people hitting Exploder Suplexes throughout it. It was comical how many Exploder Suplexes. And that's all because of Jun Akiyama, I'd have to say. He started in All Japan. He jumped over to Noah with Masawa in 2000. He wrestles for DDT, another big promotion in Japan, more often than not nowadays. But he is, he's goated, as they say, and he's taking on one of the current goats here in Bryan Danielson. He hits an exploder. He hits a knee, but both men left laying. He can't get the pin. Danielson, though, hits the Psycho knee, 1, 2, 3, leaves the legend laying, beats Jun Akiyama, shakes Jun's hand, flicks off Kingston, but Jun has respect for Kingston because they wrestled, I think, last year or 2 years ago, that it looks like maybe Danielson definitely doesn't have for Kingston. Danielson turns around. Jun Akiyama bitch slaps him for flicking off Kingston. And then Danielson says, sorry, man, sorry. Let me just shake your hand. I'm sorry. And then as he shakes his hand, as his guard is down, he kicks him right in the fucking dick. Boom. Leaves the legend laying for a second time. Kingston's seen enough. He runs in, starts jumping Danielson. Claudio runs in. He saves Danielson. FTR come out. The members of Blackpool Combat Club hightail it because it's a 4-on-2. And then we have FTR, Jun Akiyama, and Eddie Kingston standing tall in a collision ring. You gotta love AEW. It makes amazing moments like this. I know I kind of have been crapping on the booking lately, but I'm really excited for Revolution. And I mean, Jun Akiyama, Eddie Kingston, FTR is a faction I didn't know I needed, and I might only have if I watched Collision from this Saturday on the 24th. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below of NXT, of AEW. Let me know who you think is going to win at Revolution. Fly high. I'm out.